What's going on, everybody? Wilson here, your spiritual hype man, and I'm back with Miss Gianna. Say what up, Gianna.
Hey.
So the first episode with Gianna, we talked. I feel like if we were to summarize the episode, we discussed on the macro level of things of terms of where we both are, how we've gotten to this level of awareness, what we continue to do in regards to morning routine, and certain things that people can listen and potentially use and reinforce in terms of what they're trying to do if they're trying to seek either change in their life or something different or a different feeling. I think ultimately is what we're trying to obtain is a feeling for the most part. But this episode, John, I would love to talk a little more and see if we can share some of what you've gone through, in case there are people or there are listeners that are going through something similar. And then if they can relate to how did you get to these levels of the awareness now? Obviously, we know it's through practice, but what were those moments in those situations that like, you understood that it's like, something's got to give, or I got to do something different. And then what were the aha moments? And then how did you proceed? What were the feelings? Because, at the end of the day, I think most people are that like, we're just trying to feel good about good about what we're doing, right? Like at the end of the day, like we don't want to feel bad or angry or upset. It's like we're trying to find this feeling of love, being included and just being accepted for like the individual that we are.
Mhm.
So would you take us through some of the things? I know you had mentioned early on there was, you were on a lot of medications and then sort of what went through there. And then you also had talked about maybe a divorce, because I know relationships are huge, and whether they're loving, friendship, like at the end of the day, we're in a relationship. You know what I mean? So like, how do we approach these things moving forward? And what were some of the things that you went through? And then please take it away, Gianna.
Yeah, I feel very lucky in the way that I have kind of always known in the back of my mind. I have like this sense of certainty that even when I'm doing something, I'm like, I'm only going to do this for a little bit of time. I just like kind of need to know what is up with this thing. Like even when it comes to drugs or acting out and things like that, like I'll be better at another time, but I like really need to do this thing that I'm doing. And it's very obvious when I am happy and when I'm unhappy. And when the unhappiness starts to grow into a way where it's undeniable, like quit my job at the salon and knew that I just kind of was never going to go back. And that I was giving up a good job at a good salon that had good benefits to have nothing at all, basically. And stepped into that willingly, not because I had an incredible support system, but because I was willing to show up to support myself. And I think because I have a lot of abandonment issues and things like that from growing up with a sick parent and just being a feral child in a big family, I had I have this sense of need for community or need for the feeling of support.
Mm.
And so after kind of realizing that or having like a definition around that, I could see why I had created certain relationships, with my wife
Mm.
and, other aspects of just closeness that I'd had with other people and why.
Can I ask you, how did you become aware? Like, how did you connect the things that you grew up with, right? Your influence to
Mhm.
knowing that that's part of like where you are now and how you're being in regards to what you just said.
I
How did
have a
that
lot
come
of
about?
really, yeah, I have a lot of really good friends who are also interested in having these conversations. And that's one of the things that I think is important. If you don't go to therapy or you don't have real close friends, like not the friends that you go drink with or the friends that you like, have a fun night out with, but the ones
Right,
that you're talking about kind of the depths of things with,
right.
if you
Interpersonal
don't have
friendships,
that,
maybe.
you need to go to therapy because the only way to explore the deeper aspects of you is with somebody that you either feel safe with or feel like has your best interest in mind, you know?
Right. And that's always been a question for therapy because like I'm like for me, I've always been like, I don't know if the therapists are as aware as I am, So like, but obviously that's it's my perception on my experiences, right? I like
Hmm.
I'm sure there's therapists out there that are actually way above it and can do it. So,
Hmm.
but
I
yeah, I
know,
would agree with you.
I know therapists that I have relationships with that I'm like, oh, I would never recommend anyone to go see you as a therapist just based off of the way that you're talking about your interactions with
Mm,
other people.
mm, mm.
And there are people that have finally, finished their degrees and are working in the field. And I'm like, God, this is like exactly what you should be doing. I'm so
Yeah.
happy that you're here for these people.
Right.
There's
People
good.
being people within the,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like yoga teachers, people like put all these people that have these jobs and get paid for these things on some sort of pedestal. And at the end of the day, if they're shitty people, it doesn't matter what they're doing, they're going to be
Yep.
shitty at the
Yep.
job.
Like the trash guy. You can have a really nice trash man or a really fucking shitty one. Yeah.
Yeah, and he could be the most enlightened person in the world and the least enlightened person in the
Yep.
world. Their jobs have nothing to do with their state of enlightenment.
Right. 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 Ah, gee, we're on the same level, man. Welcome to the show. I agree with you. So I agree with you 100%. Okay, so where were we in the story? So
So
we're
when, yeah,
oh,
so when it
how you
comes to,
connected. Yeah, how you connected knowing that. So you had friends and influences that helped you sort of realize that, or they spoke with you when you were having certain conversations about things that were happening?
and I wasn't ready to realize certain aspects of the way that I act in, was acting in the world, like, one of my I can't remember where I heard this quote. Somebody was talking about how your 20s are a time to be young and or loud and wrong.
I don't know.
And and I think that like I got married at 26 and we were together for 6 years before that
Hmm.
and we were married for 4 years and I lost my dad during that time. We moved countless amounts of times. My career really took off during that time. I knew where I wanted to go and that I was going to get there. And I was very driven and I still am driven, but in a more relaxed way. And the partner that I was with was just not driven
Hmm.
and also very supportive of me, which I really needed at that time. And though us being together was keeping them from pursuing the support of their own self.
Hmm.
And that's not why I separated from her. It was very much so that I was like, this is not helpful for me anymore. I'm sick of feeling bad about myself. She was suffering from, depression and anxiety, but not talking about it. I
Hmm.
didn't even know that that's what she was going through. And I don't think she did either. But there was this like hard stop in my availability for that relationship. And if we went to therapy, honestly, we probably could still be together
Hmm.
and it probably would be fine.
Hmm.
But and as the person that I am today, because of the choices that I've made, I have made room for the life that I want to live that is very much so centered around my work and my commitment to uh, to just becoming.
Hmm.
And this kind of lack of attachment to my attachment styles. And allowing myself to be whole in myself because a lot of because I grew up taking care of myself, taking care of my mom, not really having a childhood, being angry about that, experiencing sadness and covering it with anger, feeling alone, nobody talking to me about anything that's going on. I wasn't told, we didn't have a sit down and be like, your mom is sick and she's gonna die.
Right.
But even though we watched her dad die from the same thing, there was very little communication around something. I because of this like very lonesome existence that I had to just figure everything else out on my own,
Yeah.
I developed this need to find attachment or to find satisfaction or reinforce my, goodness or even to gain some sort of self-worth through other people's feedback to me.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
the amount somebody was devoted to me ended up telling me how worthy I was of, commitment or value or
Right.
whatever it was. And I needed to have these life experiences like divorce and things like that in order to realize that that is an experience that I probably still have and will still have, but it's separate from me and my self-worth, where
Mm,
it hurts me when people say that they, want to be close to me or want to be friends with me or love everything that I do, and then don't actually show up for me. That is hurtful.
mm,
That's hurtful for anyone, right?
right,
But it hits me in a way that's like triggering to
right,
my previous self,
right,
but it doesn't put me in some sort of spiral or whatever. Do I want to not show up for them too because of that? Yes. Do
right,
I want them maybe to know that I don't want to show up for them because they're bad at showing up for me? Yes.
right,
Do I do that? No, because that's petty, and if I value them as a friend,
right.
or I believe in what it is they're doing, I'll still show up for them even though they don't have the capacity to show up for me.
Yeah, because you're
If
at this
it's
macro
costly
level
to
of
me,
thinking
I
now.
won't.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's not necessary for everyone. I think it's totally okay. I don't like to be tit for tat, but it's totally okay to pick up what other people are putting down and
mm,
know when you're wanted and when you're not.
mm.
So, there's that. But yeah, I don't know that I could have gotten to this space of like, I live alone and I have a home, which I never thought I'd be able to have.
Yeah,
I, take I have a tiny little community of people that I talk to every day and that care about me.
mm,
I don't have the means to do much more. Like I can't, fly to somewhere today unless I'm working there. And I can't have a full production film company film my music video or what, like I don't have the kind of support that maybe I would have if I had a double income home or could afford people backing my business in some way, having
right.
people work for me. But I have a very nice life that is comfortable and simple. And that's all I really want in this life, is just to feel like I have a simple, comfortable life that is supported to me. The, collection of these like self-satisfactory things that if I was still operating from these, scarcity mentalities from my childhood,
Right.
then, I would feel like I need to kind of keep grinding. And I'm like, same with like capitalistic, programming and things like that, where it's just like, yeah, I could very much be like, you know what? My car is from 1994. I should probably get a new one.
Yeah.
But my
But you
car is
also have
also,
a badass motorcycle.
yeah,
You know?
from 1994.
Yeah.
And, so there's little things that if I was adopting these ways that I was maybe raised and ways that
Sure.
society has raised
For
me,
sure.
there would be that not enoughness.
Right.
But, that's one of the things that I recommend people do is find what it is that is valuable to you and why.
Mm.
If you're like, it's valuable for me to have a brand
Lamborghini.
new iPhone every year and, a big house and like a hot wife or something like that, and your answers to the why to those things is it means that you have really discovered or manifested your you-ness. Okay, fine. But if
Right.
the reason you want a new iPhone every year, a hot wife, and like a fancy big old house
Yeah.
is because then you could show everyone that you've made it or you
Right.
have those things, then that isn't making you a better person at all. That's
Right.
making you seem like you've done what other people want you to do.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
when you figure out your life's mission statement, then you're able to kind of fill out the details in order to live by that mission. I don't teach a lot of public yoga classes anymore. I don't, and I'm pulling away from teaching workshops. I do trainings and I do one-on-ones, and I want people to show up to what it is that I'm preaching because, or not preaching, what it is that I'm sharing
Preach, girl, preach.
subscribe to my cult. But
Yeah.
I want people to show up because they want to be there, not because the time of the thing that I'm offering it happens to
I
work with
know.
the schedule.
I know. And I'm there with you on that. I feel like there's, the masses, and then there's I think there's like a turn to become more aware for most, right? I think most people are or have already started this question of thing, but I'm right there with you, right? Same thing with like the shirts and things like that. Like the shirts would be great if people support it because it would help, and then we can continue doing, But very seldom here and there do we get people, supporting, which is fine. But then it's like if you don't, because I feel like if most people right now are on the same mental trajectory of like, okay, this is it, this is what I'm getting, I'm online, this is what they're getting. It's like doing the morning routine, but in this sense, it's the routine of learning or knowing how you need to shop or decide that you're going to buy something or decide that you're going to support something because it's
Yeah.
just been so ingrained, you know?
Right.
And I battle with that too. It's like knowing this level of consciousness or having this macro level of thinking, but then still having to be like, man, now I have to get here and like do this particular setup or sequence in order for someone to help support or purchase something. Because at the end of the day, this is what we're looking to do, right? Like at the end of the day, you got to pay your bills somehow. Um,
Hmm.
and figure out what that is, right? Figuring out what that is. So I struggle with the same thing of, and I would say very similar to in terms of like, man, where are my homies at? Where's the support? Um, but again, I think going back to what you're saying is I was very similar where I was like, dude, I want to get the Lambo. I want to make a mill. Like when I was 20, I was like, I want to get all this because like I didn't have a lot either. Right? Growing up, very, very little. And I was like, I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna do like big things. But then recently, like last couple of years, same thing. I've realized where I'm like, listen, where we are right now, like it's I don't want to say comfortable, but it's definitely a lot more than what we had way before. So I'm happy with it. And like you said, I think it's given me the ability to not be so, we're gonna go do this and like, like this without having moments of clarity or reflection where I'm like, where am I really? What does this mean? And what am I really trying to share with people, while still trying to pay your bills and do laundry. Right. So yeah, I would agree, or I would agree, and I would say that I've shared certain feelings of that similar thing. So do you continue to struggle with that feeling of like, yeah, where my homies at? And how come I like people aren't supporting? Um or
Yeah,
like and if
write a
so,
lot
like how do you work through that?
I write a lot of music about that.
Yeah, do you?
Um, yeah.
Where can we where can we download the the songs and on Apple? Can we buy it?
yeah, I
Where's the
have
link?
yeah, I mean everything I have recorded is on Spotify and Apple Music and Bandcamp and all that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm recording next month. We'll be recording again in February. But
Cool.
yeah, it's still sad to me that, I feel like I'm a good person and I have a lot of love to give. And I think a lot of people at my age would be like, okay, well, it's time to have a baby or something, because
Right.
it's like, let me create something that I can love as much as I can love, which is why I get people together to eat my food and I have people over to commune and things like that. But to really feel like I'm getting the amount of love that I have to give from other people is just it's not going to happen because I am a different person. I love in a different way, and I gain a lot of love from loving people.
Mm. I'm right there
For
with you.
example, my partner right now is an only child, is thrives as a solo person, loves to have her own space, and we don't have any goals to ever live together. We don't want to have a business together or whatever. Like, we're not trying to meld our lives in that way. But what it's allowed me to do is spread my love out in a way that is more community building based. Now, Tucson is where I live, and it's a pretty small town. It's rather cliquey here. People have lots of opinions. And because I'm an older person now in the community, especially in the yoga world, like, when you get closer, or in the music world, you get closer to 40 and you start to kind of be on the other side of the music,
You're wiser.
where
You're
it's like,
wiser, not older.
I'm like, when I was a kid playing in the punk scene, we played all the VFW halls, and now the kids
Yeah.
in the punk scene are like, yeah, we're playing these big venues or whatever, and they think
Yeah.
they're really amazing. And it's like, you ride that wave now, but you're gonna be old and dried up like the rest of us.
Right.
But that like crotchety mentality or whatever. But there's
Get off
in
my lawn, kid.
yeah, that's me. I built a fence. There's a big old fence now. Nobody's on my lawn. We're in the desert. There's just sand. But there's still those feelings of like, oh, why don't people want to be part of this amazing community that I'm building or want to get together with me the way that I want to get together to know them? And it's because the depths of the way that I feel connected to people it's very uncomfortable for
Mm,
others. I want to know about you and how you actually are as a person and what you are working on and how you're feeling. And most people don't want to have that conversation.
mm,
They want to hang out with you because you offer a form of escape for them. They can go have a nice time with you and then go home and be sad alone by themselves, you know? And that's just not who I am. So finding people that are that interested in getting dirty, it is a difficult task.
mm.
And something that when I find those people, it's a forever thing. You know, we are
Right.
family forever. I have family around the world. Every time I spend a small hiccup of my year with, my friends and family in Spain or in India or in Indonesia or wherever it is, I am filled with gratitude that I have these people in my life. And then I come home and I have my like handful of close people that ignite each other's world.
Mm.
And that's enough for me.
Right.
You know, that your community they're not collectible toys that you can get together. I had, 50 something people over here that I fed homemade raviolis that I made for
Well, thanks for
Christmas.
the invite, Gianna. Jeez.
And
Could have been 52. Me and Patty, of course. It's funny.
um
That's cool,
and
Jay.
but yeah, I would never see there is no follow-up invite for me to come to their house for raviolis. Is
Mm,
that
mm, mm, mm.
upsetting?
Mm, mm,
No.
mm, 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 mm.
I am who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for a bunch of other people to be who I am.
Mm,
But
mm.
if it was younger me, I would be annoyed because I
Right.
would have tit for tat, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I share something with that. Like, and again, I relate to my mom because I grew up with my mom basically. It was my mom and I grew up with my grandma and my aunts first for the first 5 years of my life. Then I moved in with my mom in Jersey. So from Columbia to Jersey or New York, then Jersey. But I realized that my mom does that same thing and I've seen it. Like, I've been aware of it. And then all of a sudden, when I started questioning, I'm like, fuck, I am like that. Where my intention is always good. I always have a good intention. And same thing with my mom. It always has a good intention. And when people didn't reciprocate that back, then she would feel a certain way, and I would feel a certain way. The same thing. So I relate to you 100%. And then I started again, same thing. This like awareness of understanding. Like, is it really like what if my intention is for the good of someone else? If it doesn't get brought back to me, is it really that big of a deal? Like, is that, and then I play with that, I play with that, whether it's right or wrong or whatever, fill in the blank, but it has
It's
helped
coming
me.
back to you in a different way.
Exactly. And then right back to that point was like you sharing the community that you have and the family that you have all around the world. Some people don't even have that, like some people don't have that. And to think that like that's what you have, like, in comparison to like selling millions of shirts, like, it's the same, like, it's kind of like, wow, and I think some of the things for me, it's being able to take, like, like you said, have that perspective, right? From someone, whether it's our own internal awareness of that, or like you said, if you have people or friends that you trust and you can get dirty with, to give you that moment of perspective. Cause I'm like, damn, Gianna, like you can go all over the world and be okay, you know?
Mhm.
And most people, if they have their great jobs or whatever, like whatever we're perceiving opposite of that, or whatever opposite of what you do in terms of your expression, what they do in life, they may not even be able to have that. They can maybe go to Miami or do whatever, but like, do they actually have that connection, with other people that you call family for the rest of your life? And
Yeah.
that is for us, or I would say, and I would include us in it in terms of moving forward to this next level of awareness and being expressing and what are we actually fucking doing here. I think it's a beautiful thing that you have that, you
Yeah,
know?
I agree with you. Yeah.
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 So fuck
Um,
everybody else.
yeah, right. Yeah, that was great.
uh,
Um, and two, I think the best people And the best way that I've become my best person is
Mm.
by also knowing how shitty I am.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
know, like,
like being aware of the things that you're still dealing with. Like, are
yeah,
because you're still dealing with some like that's
right,
never forever, never gone, right?
yeah,
Like the things from our past and influences, just we become more aware of it, and
right.
then we start changing it. How do you
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. You have some, what else on that one?
No, go ahead.
No, I would say like when you say like all right, so when you say like you're still a very shitty person, like why that vocabulary?
I think because if you start to look at something as nothing like you,
Mm,
the more you meditate or connect with, the infinite reality of things or the interconnectivity of consciousness,
I love it.
you start to see how you're something like that and then nothing but that,
Mm,
right? And so when you're doing, like, I remember during, different elections or during different, whatever, I pick figures that I do not like. And I'm like, how is this person a popular figure? They're filled with hate or
right.
whatever. And I do a loving kindness, bhavana meditation, or, whatever I can around that person to dissolve the separation that I have with them
Mm,
so that I can see how that is also me. That
mm,
is
mm,
also my potential.
mm, mm,
And if I think I'm the best person in the world and I let that be combined with my ego self, then I will turn into the worst person in the world
right.
because sure, I love myself and I, think that I'm amazing, but I don't think that I'm infallible. And I find that when I do trip up, I can, self-soothe and love myself in a very easy and effortless way.
Mhm,
But I'm not going to pretend like I'm perfect and I don't trip up.
right.
For us to have these realizations like, oh, I'm acting like my mother right now, or I'm nothing like her, or oh, I'm actually just like
Wilson,
her.
you're like your mom. No, I'm not. Oh, fuck, I am.
Well, right? Whatever those little
Yeah.
realizations are,
Yeah.
you have to realize that those are aspects of existence that you don't want to be.
Right.
And though that are you or are your possibility,
Mhm,
especially when there are ancestors. That's ancestral karmic buildup that we're trying to figure out how to heal from,
mm,
I have ancestors that were part of things that I hope that their work burned up. And some of them I can tell have
mm,
because of the ways that they, fled different countries and things like that.
right.
And I thank them for that work and know that I need to continue doing my work for, those to come after me. And we can't, if the moment we think that we are not also working on things that are really horrible about ourselves
Yeah.
is
Right.
the moment we start working on things. I
Right.
like to be dramatic and I wouldn't say I'm verbose. I'm not exactly like a
All these
literary.
giant 25-cent words. Goddamn, Gina. Let me get my
I like
thesaurus out.
I like the small ones. But I like to build shock or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I am the best person and the worst person at the same time. I am really amazing and really shitty all together because I have these collection of thoughts and experiences
Yeah.
that I make better decisions because of. But it doesn't mean that because I made a better decision, that shitty thought didn't exist.
Yeah.
It
100%.
was still part of me,
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So it's just like in essence acknowledging the fact that there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, and to be willing to be uncomfortable and going into those dark crevices
Mm,
because it's very easy to just deny that they exist
right.
and just stay happy on the happy little trail
Yeah. Right. Until all of a sudden you fucking
until all
lose
the,
it.
the darkness comes in and takes you over
Yeah.
because you didn't deal with it when you knew it existed there.
Yeah. 100%. I'm with you all on that. That's really cool. Gee, so let me ask you, and then what do you do now? Like, if you start finding yourself or feeling yourself in the funk, you start feeling like. So some of the last episodes I talked about was, um, like self-sabotage or just not being confident, like when you start feeling less confident about the things that you're doing or where you're at in life, like how do you, and for just quick purposes, like the way I did it, like I think it's identifying, right? Like if we can be aware of identifying the moment that I'm starting to feel this way or starting to get into this, downward spiral, how do I then adjust or prompt or X? Like, what do you do to get out of a funk if you start feeling? How do you identify it? One, how do you know it's coming, or how do you know it is? And then from there, how do you get yourself out of that?
I usually put my phone away
Mhm.
and I get outside into nature and I earth or get into, we have a lot of really amazing hikes over here. Getting out into a place where you feel really small
Love it.
and you can experience the vastness of things can just build perspective. I think phones and swiping and constant input is just incredibly detrimental to our ability to really embody ourselves and our creative flow.
Mm,
And unless we're willing to get out of that cycle of constant feedback, we will continue down that path of self-doubt and self-deprecation
mm,
and things like that. So really turning off, like I said, I think it's important to be connected to what is going on in the world and you have to have connection purely to what is going on in within your quiet little world that is always so loud when you actually turn everything else off.
right.
So yeah, just disconnecting and knowing your limit for the day because you shouldn't have to retreat all the time and like binge on silence.
Mm,
It should be an aspect of every day so that you aren't getting to that point all of the time where you're like, okay, I
right.
need to reboot. Okay, I'm depleted.
Right.
Okay, I feel horrible about myself. You need like a timer on your abilities. Like I can export my output only this much before I need to restore it with silence and a walk or something like that.
Right. And which obviously good morning routine. And then even we didn't talk too much about it, but like nighttime routine or like even in the middle of the day, taking a minute to just go out, get off the phone, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. All right. Really awesome. Because for me, sometimes it was like the reason I started the podcast was there was like 2 weeks of like just feeling super down. And
Mm.
for my entire life, like I've never went 2 weeks like super down, right? It was always like, yeah, down, but then I would come back like right away. And then so Patty was like, listen, I think you just need to go in there. And what she said to me, she was like, it feels like super, like it relate to Superman dying is what she said. And that's the first name of the episode. Superman is dying. So like maybe I'll send that to you. You can see how I actually was feeling and then how it changed. And this has helped. Like being able to get on a podcast or just being able to talk and share moments even with myself, right? If nobody's listening, but people are listening, Gianna, so don't worry. People are listening. Um, but yeah, so I realized that too. So I appreciate for your feedback. We have a few more minutes, so I'm going to ask you a couple rapid fire questions. Do you supplement or anything in terms of when you do diet? Is there anything that you supplement right now, or if someone's listening in terms of better health, better eating? I always talk about water, doing blood tests to figure out what are you depleted on, and then figuring out like natural ways to intake that on. Do you have any remarks, thoughts, feedback?
No, but I don't take any supplements. I do take herbs sometimes, because I travel so much. I have a lot of what in Ayurvedic theory we would call wind in the body.
Mm,
And I am naturally more of a windy person, just like with ADHD and all that kind of stuff. There's lots of wind. So I do take like vata, um I wouldn't say suppressants, but balancing herbs. But otherwise, making sure that you're eating at the same times all the time and also diversifying your diet and the herbs that you're taking in and making sure that they're warm, nourishing foods
mm,
is really good for winter
mm.
right now and then for transitioning from season to season.
Awesome, love it. What's your favorite food
Oh, it changes all the time. Right
right
now,
now?
yeah, right now, let's see, what did I do? Okay, I love tacos. It's
Good
just like
tacos.
tacos. My favorite food,
Okay, Jake. All right. Well, next time you have the raviolis, make sure you send out an invite.
for sure.
Um, All right, let's okay, and the last I guess this one would be a good well, I got a couple more, but quickly, how do you have difficult conversations with either yourself or someone else knowing that like that's something that you need to do?
I usually start by telling them that I love them, and the reason I want to talk about this thing is because I care about them and our time together in our relationship.
Love it. Good prompt. That way like it settles everyone's on the same page. Okay, cool. And then for anybody like do you listen or read books or listen to books or anything like that?
Yeah, like I said, right now I'm chanting the Bhagavad Gita every morning, so I'm spending a lot of time on that. And then I have an internship next year that I want to feel really ready for, so I'm just studying quite a bit, some of the different Ayurvedic scripts like the Ashtanga Hridayam and things like that.
Cool. And then for people that are not too aware of Ayurvedic stuff, like can you give us a quick little thing on that?
Yeah, it's basically the Vedic science of understanding the elements within us that exist outside of us as well, and how we can better be aligned and what we call tridoshic or balanced in all the elements so that we stay away or and out of, mental, physical, spiritual disease.
Love it. And what would you suggest for someone that has a lot of kapha? Because apparently that's what I have.
A lot of kapha? Is it? That's
Yeah,
surprising
yeah,
as a fire sign.
yeah. Way too much
You
fire.
You need to reduce sweet from your body
Okay.
and make sure that you're moving a lot. Add a little more heat to your body, right? Cold is going to be a little more disruptive for kapha. And make sure that, yeah, you're taking in more warm foods. Salty
Okay.
foods are actually pretty good for you, but stay away from unnatural salts. So, like, celery would be good for you, um, misos and seaweed and things like that. But yeah, movement is really important for you, especially during the morning part of the day, because that's kapha time. So you'd want
Yeah.
to always get up at the same time of day, do some sort of movement so that you're starting to move kapha out of your body.
Love it. All right. I'm gonna definitely continue doing that. And then last, I guess for the last couple minutes we have, any feedback, thoughts? What's like big picture world is going? Like what's your thought for or people that may be listening to you that are listening because of you? What's something that you'd like to say to them?
Oh, um, I don't like to tell people to have hope. I think everything gives us a reason to not have hope, but you do need to find some sort of self-love and passion to live your life by. Otherwise, the state of the destruction of the world we're in, because we're said to be in Kali Yuga, which
Mm.
is this part of the world's existence that has a lot of destruction in it. You have to, in order to get through your life, is to center something that you're passionate about, whether it's music or prayer or family or, nature, whatever it is. There has to be an element of passion in your life to keep you going, because everything is trying to take away our passion right now and distract us from our ability to be love and express love and be better selves. So I would say find your passion.
Boom, love it, because it's fucking nuts out there right now. It's like, Jesus Christ. All right, G,
Yes.
I appreciate you so much. Thanks for being on. Thanks for taking the time, educating, sharing your knowledge and thoughts. And hopefully this isn't the first or last time that we get a chance to hang out. We could do this once again at some point. Um, Appreciate you guys listening. Thank you so much. Keep crushing it. If you're not feeling good, let's fucking go. 2024, baby. It's just the thoughts in our head. We got to either shut them off, figure out what they mean, do something else, listen to some music, Gianna's music, preferably, right, Gianna? We can find that on Apple, Spotify, and uh, support any way we can. And we'll see you guys on the next one. And don't forget, nothing changes until you do. Peace.